What's up, you guys? Happy Thursday. Thank you guys so much once again for tuning back in, and let's get right into it. So, the NASDAQ, this is how it looked on the day today, and today the NASDAQ had a very bearish day, meaning the direction was downtrending, right? Although they did have a nice support, right, for a nice play up, overall the direction was still pretty heavily downtrending the whole day, right? And the reason for that I want to talk about was because the PPI report was released today that my brother talked about yesterday. He filmed the video, but he mentioned it. And yeah, I just want to briefly talk about that. But if any of you are using TOS, if you guys ever know of any reports that come out and want to kind of, if you're curious about how to read about it a bit, you can click on this live news tab right here. That's what I did. And you can just find the right kind of title you're looking for or whatever, the right story. And the one I was looking for was for the PPI report, and it's right here, right? And it says stocks fall after strong producer inflation. So basically it says that the inflation and jobs came in better than expected, increasing concerns that the end of the Federal Reserve's tightening campaign is nowhere near. So people really thought inflation was finally going to start to cool off a bit and everything like that, but with this report coming out, it's not looking like that's the case at all. And because of that, obviously the market was very bearish today, and if you'll just look at our account, we took a nice hit today on all of our swings, right? We basically gave back everything we made yesterday. And on top of that, I did have a red day trading. Here are all my filled orders on the day. If you guys were curious, it's quite a lot of them. It's almost like 4 times the amount of yesterday. But I want to go ahead and talk about what was my biggest mistake today. And in terms of, obviously I trade the NASDAQ, and right around here was when the market opened up, so that's when I looked to trade. So what really got me today was I was looking for this uptrending direction, right? I started to take note of it when the market opened up, that it wanted to really start pushing above this blue EMA line here. And I did see it wanted to start rallying above it a bit. It came back down, but ultimately did form this higher low to keep going. So where I went wrong today was that the market didn't have these clear uptrending moves like pretty nicely, right? Let's say I started to get into TQs right around here when I saw it started to kind of push up a bit, came back down, form a higher low. I'll buy into TQQQ, right, with a quarter of my position size. And as I see it start to break above, I would fully average in with the other 3/4 of my position. But if you'll notice, a lot of the times on the way up today, as it made a new high, that's when I would average in, only for it to flush me out with the following red candle. And it did that multiple different times, and I just found that pretty frustrating today, right? Because right when I thought direction was going my way and I'd average up, it would only fake me out, and I would cut the shares, right? Because I was in heavy now, only for it to actually find a bottom and keep going higher. So that's where I went wrong today. I should have been aware of the fact that I kept literally falling for that. And 2 different times, I believe, I fully averaged in and it went south, and I ended up having to cut it. So that's what led me to have this nice little loss on the day. But as far as what I can do, or any of you guys can do to kind of trade a day that is like this, a little more choppy, is I would pretty much be doing the same thing. If I saw higher low trying to form and I'm trying to get into support for a TQQQ play, I would buy in with a quarter, and as it goes in, I would average in increments. Instead of in one place, let's say the break above, averaging in with the other 3/4 of my size, right, pretty aggressively. As this thing starts to push up, I can add another quarter here. As it keeps going, another quarter here. So that way, if it does break above, I'm not fully averaging in only to take a huge loss, right? If in this way, it allows me to pretty much manage my risk better. Because if it started going and I added again and it started to fall there, I would only be in with half, right, instead of the full position size. So that's what I can look to do, and I would just slowly add in increments, and if it did have a pullback, the places I was able to add before should make up for my, average share price. So maybe it will still be broken even, or I'll still be in the green even with these pullbacks adding on the way up. So I would add a bit, I'd start to go up, add, and then maybe it came back down, but I would still holding, right? Only cut it if it fell below a certain level I was comfortable with. And that's how you could have taken advantage of this, right? It would have never came back to stop you, and you could have kept going. And what I did wrong, right? Like I just told you guys, I'd fully average in and have to ride this huge red candle down and cut it somewhere. because I don't want to take the risk of trying to not cut it on this big red candle only for that to be the red candle that it actually falls, right? That would be a humongous loss, and I'm not trying to take part in any of that, so that's why I wanted to cut it. So the direction was bearish, right? The market tried to recover a bit, but ultimately found a resistance right around this level here, this general area. If you'll notice, anytime it tried pushing above it, it really struggled and couldn't really break above it. It kept falling, getting rejected. And towards the end of the day, right around this level, the market ultimately did start to fall, right? It validated that rejection and broke the support level here and kept falling aggressively. So that's what led to the big sell-off on the day. And as far as the Nasdaq, if you guys saw it on the bigger time frame, this was how it played out in the morning, right? I looked for this support it tried to find right around here. And ultimately, if you saw, when it started an uptrend here, it was either going to do two things. When it tried breaking above this blue EMA line here, it was going to try to fall, kind of basically hit a little resistance, come back down and test it for new highs, right, to really keep on going. It tried doing that, but it couldn't really break above. And because of that, what ultimately ended up happening was the EMA line was acting as a resistance now. And anytime it broke below it, basically, it was now looking like it was really going to start to downtrend because it didn't want to go. So it was using it more as a resistance now, and it ultimately fell pretty aggressively, right? If you'll notice here, we found a support around the levels we previously did before in the past, and it tried going just like it did before. But if you'll notice, the previous time it really went, it kept trading above this blue EMA line here. Sorry, I can't talk today. It kept trading above this blue EMA line here, right? And that's what let it keep rallying today. And unfortunately, it didn't want to keep that pattern to keep rallying, and ultimately ended up falling. So just be aware of those larger time frames and see those potential plays that could come. Just because the day started out uptrending doesn't mean it had to keep uptrending all day, right? So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another recap, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care.